Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. My father's family name being Pirrip, and my Christian name Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip. So I called myself Pip, and came to be called Pip. I give Pirrip as my father's family name on the authority of his tombstone and my sister, Mrs. Joe Gargery, who married the blacksmith. As I never saw my father or my mother, and never saw any likeness of either of them, for their days were long before the days of photographs, my first fancies regarding what they were like were unreasonably derived from their tombstones. The shape of the letters on my father's gave me an odd idea that he was a square, stout, dark man with curly black hair. From the character and turn of the inscription, also Georgiana, wife of the above, I drew a childish conclusion that my mother was freckled and sickly. Ours was the marsh country, down by the river, within, as the river wound, 20 miles of the sea. My first, most vivid and broad impression of the identity of things seems to me to have been gained on a memorable, raw afternoon towards evening. At such a time I found out for certain that this bleak place, overgrown with nettles, was the churchyard, and that the distant, savage lair from which the wind was rushing was the sea, and that the small bundle of shivers, growing afraid of it all and beginning to cry, was Pip. "Hold your noise!" cried a terrible voice, as a man started up from among the graves at the side of the church porch. "Keep still, you little devil, or I'll cut your throat." A fearful man, all in coarse grey, with a great iron on his leg, who limped and shivered, and glared and growled, and whose teeth chattered in his head, seized me by the chin. "Oh, don't cut my throat, sir," I pleaded in terror. "Pray don't do it, sir." "Tell us your name," said the man. "Quick!" "Pip, sir." The man, after looking at me for a moment, turned me upside down and emptied my pockets. There was nothing in them but a piece of bread. When the church came to itself, for he was so sudden and strong that he made it go head over heels before me, and I saw the steeple under my feet, when the church came to itself, I say, I was seated on a high tombstone, trembling, while he ate the bread ravenously. "You young dog," said the man, licking his lips, "what fat cheeks you got. Dear me, if I couldn't eat 'em, and if I hadn't half a mind to it." I earnestly expressed my hope that he wouldn't. "Now looky here," said the man. "Where's your mother?" "There, sir," said I. He started, made a short run, and stopped and looked over his shoulder. "There, sir," I timidly explained. "Also Georgiana, that's my mother." "Oh," said he, coming back. "Is that your father along of your mother?" "Yes, sir," said I. "Him too, late of this parish." "Ah," he muttered then, considering. "Who'd you live with, supposing you're kindly let to live, which I ain't made up my mind about?" "My sister, sir, Mrs. Joe Gargery, wife of Joe Gargery the blacksmith, sir." "Blacksmith, eh?" said he, and looked down at his leg. "Now looky here. You know what a file is?" "Yes, sir." "And you know what whittles is?" "Yes, sir." "You get me a file, and you get me whittles. You bring 'em both to me, or I'll have your heart and liver out. You bring the lot to me at that old battery over yonder. You do it, and you never dare say a word. Now, I ain't alone, as you may think I am. There's a young man hid with me, in comparison with which young man I'm a angel. That young man hears the words I speak. That young man has a secret way peculiar to himself of getting at a boy, and at his heart, and at his liver. I find it very hard to hold that young man off of your inside. Now, what d'ye say?" I said that I would get him the file, and I would get him what broken bits of food I could, and I would come to him at the battery early in the morning. "Say, Lord strike you dead if you don't," said the man. I said so, and he took me down. Good night, sir," I faltered. "Much of that," he said, glancing about him over the cold, wet flat.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?